All right, Bitcoin is continuing to move to the downside locally here, and we are continuing to see some bearish signs from Market Cipher. So in this video, I want to go over Market Cipher. I'll do some top-down analysis. I'll also talk about some of the key support that I am watching below us. So starting off on the weekly time frame, I am recording this on Sunday. We have about 7 hours until the weekly candle closes. I could have waited until the weekly candle closed to make another update, but, I got time right now, so I'll look at the weekly development in my next video. But we can try and guess on how it may end up. And based on the price action, based on this weekly candle that I'm looking at here, this big purple candle, I would guess that we're probably going to see things continue to move to the downside here. We'll probably see momentum get another move to the downside. We may even see money flow continue this little curvature that it has locally. It may continue lower slightly. Maybe we see the VWAP or the yellow oscillator continue lower as well. When you're looking at Market Cipher, when you're looking at these three things, the yellow oscillator, momentum, and money flow, the yellow oscillator is the fastest moving one. It's the one that oscillates the most. So it's going to cross the zero line more than anything else. Momentum is going to be the mid-speed one. It oscillates faster than money flow, but not as fast as the VWAP, and then money flow is the slowest moving one. So knowing that, I am going to be watching the VWAP or the yellow oscillator, and that can give us a hint for some potential early signs of what may happen. Are we going to continue rotating in here, or are we going to just fall to the low end of the range? And I think if VWAP starts to flatten out, if we start seeing it curve over, maybe even start curving to the upside, there's a better chance that we may see continued rotation. We might get a bounce sometime soon. But if it continues lower and puts in lower lows compared to this, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a guarantee that we're not going to bounce from this area, but I think it makes it less likely. So really, in the short term, I'm paying attention to the yellow oscillator on the weekly, so I'm interested to see how that develops. On the daily time frame, we see that money flow is continuing to move lower. I talked about the daily money flow in my last video, how we had, a sort of a bearish triangle pattern breakdown, where money flow is putting in lower highs and higher lows, and we broke the last higher low right here. And since then, we have gone on to put in lower lows compared to this wave right here. So, you could have argued that that's not really a wave I want to pay attention to. That's very shallow. Money flow was only in the red for, like 1 or 2 days, and it barely even got a move into here. So maybe you don't want to pay attention to that one. That's too insignificant for me. But, I think you can definitely say that at this point, we have put in a lower low in terms of money flow. Looking at this more significant wave, and, keeping in mind, this is coming after some bearish divergences up here. So we did have bearish confirmations up at these local highs, with momentum putting in a lower high as price put in a higher high, and also money flow diverged as well. It put in a lower high right here, very slight one, but it was a divergence. And now we are seeing money flow put in lower lows, compared to the lowest point of that local range that we just broke out of. This little red wave happened inside of this little range here. Now we're putting in lower lows. I guess it makes sense because we are putting in lower lows in price as well. And we are not yet seeing any signs of money flow really reversing. You maybe can start to look at this and say it looks like it's starting to flatten out, but still overall it's moving to the downside. We are potentially seeing momentum try to bottom out, but we saw that multiple times. It tried to print a green dot here. It also tried to print a green dot right here. You could tell by how this outer white part starts to clip in on the darker gray part. We had, a few attempts at printing a green dot here, and they all flopped over. Now, we do have a green dot. It is not confirmed yet because we haven't closed today's daily candle. So, in 6 hours, if that green dot's still there, we'll confirm. And, we are seeing overall good direction with the VWAP. It's attempting to cross over the zero line. We'll see if it can with some follow through. Now, I don't think that this bit of daily Market Cipher B looks great for some sort of a significant bounce or reversal, but it could happen. This momentum wave is very oversold. We have a BitBoy green dot down here, and we are approaching some significant support. So, there is a chance that if we see maybe another move to the downside with maybe some divergences on the lower time frames, that we could see price get a bounce from this area, and maybe we see one of those situations where we don't see any divergences on the low, at least on the daily time frame. Ideally, we will see them on the midterm time frames, but we may just bottom out with this fat anchor wave of momentum, and maybe money flow bottoms out along with price as well. But at the same time, I think with money flow continuing to trend to the downside, there is still a decent chance that this support area doesn't work and that we may see a rotation further down in the range. Going down to the 4 hour, we can start to see this local downtrend. You can see that very clearly. You can see the lower highs and lower lows. And from here, we can start to look for signs of a weakening downtrend. We can start looking for signs in price action or in market cipher. And I think some signs of a weakening trend that I like to look for is number one, SFPs, or barely being able to break down below the last lower low. And we have pretty much seen that. We've seen a lot of wicks here. This last time we did kind of break decently below the last lower low. We certainly didn't wick it out. It does seem like, this trend is kind of barely able to put in lower lows. We keep getting, buybacks as we just barely take out lower lows. This could potentially be a sign that this downtrend is weakening. And looking at market cipher B, you can see that each one of these significant momentum waves aligns with a lower low. So this aligns with this low, and et cetera, for all these significant lower lows. So let's see if momentum is diverging. Are we seeing momentum put in higher lows as price is putting in lower lows? And we are seeing some direction with momentum. It's a little funky because despite the fact that we are putting in higher lows, all of these waves are getting very oversold. They're all coming below the -60 line or very close to it. And I'd say it's a very slight direction. It's not super obvious, but if we see this direction continue, maybe with another momentum wave a bit more obviously diverging, something like this, then this may start to look a bit more juicy. Now, money flow is really not looking juicy, I have to be honest. We are not seeing really good direction with money flow. We actually put in our lowest point right here, so we took out this significant low over here. And, you could argue that we're starting to see maybe a bit of local direction here. If you really zoom in, you can see that money flow is putting in higher lows. But it's definitely not something super obvious, especially when you're zoomed out and looking at it normally. It looks more like money flow is just kind of going flat here. So as it stands right now, just based off of the money flow alone, it's not looking, great. But there still could definitely be some kind of a bullish setup here. At least, definitely with momentum, that is possible right now. I don't know if we could see a money flow div. I mean, we could. It would probably be a very slight one, but, if we put in another lower low, maybe money flow only gets a slight move to the downside. And, despite the fact that money flow is kind of going flat here, you could look at this and say, all right, well, price is just kind of slowly crawling its way down here. It's taking its sweet time to get to support. Maybe the weird looking money flow is just a result of that. And, once we hit support and if we start getting a significant bounce, we could start to see this curve to the upside and get that, good curvature and money flow that we like to see. And really, we won't know until we actually put in a lower low. So, I'm not going to spend too much time speculating on this. We'll see what happens when we take out this low right here. So now let's talk about some significant levels that I'm watching. So I got this gray box marked out down here. This is aligning with our value area low, and this is a daily order block. So this purple candle here, which is followed by this blue candle, which closed way higher than the order block, leaving just the next candle that printed after the order block within the box. No other candle has touched this box. And based on what I'm seeing, I would say that this is really the last key support that we have until we actually reach the range low. We can look at some fib levels, and I believe there is some confluence with the golden pocket. I think that's coming in right in that area, and it is. So yeah, we actually have golden pocket confluence with the value area low. Sure, the 786 is down here. We could potentially take out this wick low into the 786. That's a potential idea, but honestly, I don't love it. At least for, a higher probability idea. If we go down there and we see a really good setup with really good divergences at this level, then there may be a idea there, but I'm not loving it. There's not really a whole lot of confluence here. And another thing I wanted to point out is we actually have some anchored VWAP confluence. So if you take an anchored VWAP from this low, which is coming in at 38,545, we put it in on Tuesday, the 23rd of January, we can see that this anchored VWAP is coming in inside of our box. It's actually right near the golden pocket and value area low. So we do have a area of significant support here, some confluence to the value area low. Now this one was disrespected. We did close below it on the daily, but if you go to the weekly time frame, you can see that we have not closed below it. We actually only wicked it out on the weekly, so I still think this is a strong anchored VWAP. Right now, it is still pointing to the upside. That's something important that I've been trying to pay attention to since I started watching Flopping Groper's live stream, is looking at the way that anchored VWAPs are pointing from significant points and using that as a judge of strength. Like if this anchored VWAP starts to curve to the downside, that's not really a good look, because that's kind of showing that, you know, the bullishness that we saw from this point onwards is kind of starting to die off. And I can turn off the 0.5 because we already hit that. I don't need to keep that on the screen. I will keep the 786 up here just in case there's some kind of an idea from there, but really the area I'm keeping my eye on is right here. And you know, in terms of price levels, you can just go to the daily and look at this purple candle, but this is coming in between 63,132 and 60,956. And obviously, if neither of these two areas work, then I will be keeping my eye on the actual range low. And I really think that's the important stuff. You know, I'm not going to go over too much in terms of resistance because we are still in a very clear downtrend, and Market Cipher is not really showing any signs that that's going to change in the immediate short term. But, you know, the obvious ones, we got point of control, value area high. They may be different depending on the exchange, but, you know, in general, they seem to be coming in around the same spot. And, you know, that's really about it for the higher time frame stuff. You know, I will quickly go over my trades as well. I am in 2 short trades right now, and I need to find my other position because I don't know where it went. So these are the 2 short trades that I'm in right now. These are the only trades that I'm in. I'm in a short from 64,965, and I entered another scalp short last night from 64,365. And both of these trades are locked in already. I got stop loss at entry for both of them. I already took profits on both of them. And I am hopefully targeting another move down towards this low, and maybe even a bit farther down to that zone of confluence that I was looking at. So, yeah, I mean, that's really my trading right now. I am, you know, scalping this local price action, so if I see opportunities to long, I'll take it. But, you know, I'm really looking at holding my shorts for long and my longs for short at this point, just given the bearishness. And I think that's about it. So, thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment. All that helps to support the channel, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one.